Okay, our next function is the countif function. We're actually going to look at countif and its more powerful brother sumif. The countif function is a really great tool that gives you the ability to perform that basic aggregate of count, but it can do it based on a condition or a logic argument, just like a regular if statement did or does. So here is our scenario. We've got a data set of insurance policies. That's what we're looking at here in cell A31 through cell E41. These insurance policies, well, we've got their account number, the name of the customer, the zip code, the type of policy, be it homeowner, auto, or boat, and the amount that they have actually paid for this policy. So if we look up in our target cell of cell D25, we see that we want to know how many insurance policies were sold for the 46208 zip code. Well, if we look at it, we see 1, we see 2, we see 3. Well, that is the right answer. That is not a very efficient way of doing something. What if there were 50 or 100 or 1,000? It's just not a very good use of your time. That's where countif comes in. We can basically filter our count results to specifically highlight the information that we care about. Okay, and sumif, when we get to sumif, is going to do that same thing, but at the end, instead of performing a count, it's going to perform a summary. So let's look at the countif function. Okay, here's what we're going to do in this particular scenario. We want to type in the type of policy, okay, in cell I-25. And from there, we want Excel to automatically tell us how many of these policies were sold. Now, most people really like countif because it's actually pretty easy. There's only 2 variables that you need in order to solve countif. You need to know the range, and you need to know the criteria. Well, in its basic form, that's actually pretty easy. Here's what we're going to do. The range that we're going to count is going to be literally the data type or the policy. So that's going to be this. Okay. The next thing we need to do is figure out the criteria. Well, the criteria is going to be, well, count if they are a homeowner. We're going to close that off, hit enter, and there we know that it's 5. Now, here's what we did that we did very well. We used relative cell referencing here. So because we referenced the cell and we referenced the actual criteria, instead of having to go back and hard or manually change the function, all we have to do is change the original reference of home to auto, and it's going to automatically update us. It's that simple. Countif, very, very simple in its base form. Now let me take it a little bit farther though, because we can actually do a little bit more than just go through and have it reference just a name. So what if we didn't want to use the reference? What would we do? Well, similar to an if statement, if we don't want to use a relative reference, what we're going to do is we're going to literally type in that criteria area the name auto. But watch this. If I just hit enter, didn't work. Well, it doesn't work because Excel doesn't actually know what this auto means. You remember, Excel can't read. It can really only match. And in order to get Excel to match, we're going to put that auto in double quotation marks. When we do that, all of a sudden, it gives us the answer of 2. So the lesson learned from this is that if you want to hard code the criteria of a countif and its more powerful brother sumif, you need to put whatever that criteria is inside quotation marks, unless you're using relative referencing. So with that, go ahead and practice up a little bit. Try this on your own, see how it goes, and I'll see you back for sumif.